In the train, Kim Minji sat across from a guy watching a movie on his phone, her mind racing and unsure what to do. She took the remote from her pocket and set it to level 1. The discreet vibration in her trousers started gently and her face flushed. She imagined walking up to the man opposite her, her breathing quickening as the thought played out in her head. A man passed by in the aisle, tall, composed, oddly magnetic, and she found herself following him to a different seat so she could watch him. He seemed steadier, cleaner-cut than the daydreams she usually conjured, and the device in her pocket hummed softly. How did Minji get to this point? How did she become so reliant on small comforts and secret thrills? To answer that, she went back to the beginning. At the start of her freshman year at Myeongseong University, Minji had imagined she would make friends easily and spend her days surrounded by people. Instead, things hadn't worked out that way. She was majoring in computer science, and most days she kept to herself. I guess I'm just a loner, she often thought. Oh, Minji, a cheerful voice called. She looked up from her bench where she had been eating a snack quietly. A senior from her department was walking over with a smile. Hello, Sunbae, she greeted, standing to bow politely. Why haven't you been coming to our club meetings lately? He asked. Oh, well. I've just had a lot of assignments, Minji replied, a little tense. They walked toward class together. He chatted easily, but Minji answered in short, careful replies. So, I'm being dragged along to the meeting again, she thought. Earlier in the year, she had gathered the courage to sign up for a club in hopes of escaping her loner status, but it hadn't gone the way she hoped. In the classroom, she lingered in a corner, watching others talk and laugh together. She tightened her fist slightly. It still feels so awkward. I should just slip out when the chance comes. Just as she decided to leave, she bumped into someone entering the room. Papers and snacks scattered across the floor as Minji stumbled down. Oh no, she gasped, rushing to gather her things. What's with the triangle kimbap? Ha ha ha. A couple of girls snickered as they spotted the contents of her bag. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Asked the girl she had bumped into, Park Borum. Borum was polite, but Minji had never liked her nosy nature. Before she could reply, another hand reached down, offering her spilled yogurt. Are you all right? A calm voice asked. Minji looked up and froze. It was Yubin Sunbae. Her face warmed as she accepted it. Why yes, thank you. Around them, the girls immediately gathered near Yubin, their excitement obvious. Yubin Sunbae, will you take us for a drive this weekend? Let's go see the ocean, they asked eagerly. He smiled politely. I have to prepare a presentation for my internship this weekend. Then what about next weekend? They persisted. I'm not sure. My schedule's pretty full these days, he replied gently. Listening from the side, Minji felt oddly relieved by how smoothly he deflected their request. Yubin was a senior with both looks and talent. He had secured an internship at a major company, making him seem like a character out of a drama. Minji, he said suddenly, turning toward her. Her heart skipped. He knows my name? Are you joining us for the get-together later? He asked with a warm smile. Yes, she replied quickly, her face burning. That evening, the gathering was lively, filled with chatter and laughter. Minji, however, sat quietly in a corner. I knew it. I shouldn't have come. I'm hungry, but I can't grill meat and eat alone. Maybe I should just leave. Before she could slip away, Yubin approached with a smile. Minji, are you sitting here by yourself? She jolted slightly. Oh, yes. Good. Then we can eat together, he said, sitting down beside her and pouring himself a drink. Sure, she replied quickly. Here, let me pour you one too, he offered. She thanked him, holding out her glass. Why is Yubin Sunbae sitting next to me? By the way, he continued, did you know the code you submitted for that assignment is famous among the grad students? They've been saying there's a really skilled freshman coder. Skilled? No way, Minji said, flustered. I just happen to know that topic well. When did you start coding? He asked curiously as he helped serve the food. Around 3rd or 4th grade, she admitted. That's early. Are you good at hacking too? He teased lightly. I know how it works, but I've never actually done it, she said softly. Inside, Minji was buzzing. Am I really having a conversation with Yubin Sunbae right now? They continued chatting about tech, and she realized how much he enjoyed it. Their conversation flowed, and she felt as if she were dreaming. Just then, Park Borum appeared. Sunbae, I thought you went to the bathroom. What are you doing here? She said with a bright, possessive smile before clinging to his arm. Yubin looked uncomfortable as he stood. "Oh, Borum. Let's play a drinking game together," she insisted. "I'm not really into drinking games," he said. Borum ignored Minji's presence entirely, pulling him toward her table. Left alone, Minji forced down another drink, the bitterness stinging her tongue. She stood up from her seat and walked out of the cafe, leaving behind the noise of drinking games at Borum's table. Why can't I muster the courage to act boldly like that? Minji thought as she stepped into the night, her frustration heavy in her chest. She wandered through the streets until she reached the train station. A lingering sense of unease made her glance over her shoulder. Inside the subway, Minji sat down across from a young man she had noticed several times before. He was always there at the same hour, usually absorbed in anime on his phone. He looks about my age, maybe a student too, she thought, studying his quiet expression. As the train rattled forward, Minji leaned back, lost in her own head. Her thoughts drifted to what it would be like to walk up to someone so ordinary and speak without hesitation, to be confident, bold, even reckless for once. The idea made her face warm. Just then, movement at the edge of her vision caught her attention. A tall stranger passed her by, someone she hadn't seen before. He was striking in a way that made her instinctively sit straighter. Wow, he's handsome. Her earlier thoughts shifted, curiosity sparking. On impulse, Minji followed him through the carriage, choosing a seat nearby. From time to time, she stole glances at him, her imagination spinning faster than she wanted to admit. He looks better than most actors, what am I even doing? When she looked up again, their eyes met. Her stomach flipped. Wait, was he watching me this whole time? Flustered, she stood quickly and moved toward the connecting door to switch carriages. But before she could slip through, the stranger stepped forward and blocked her path with his hand against the door. Shall we talk? His tone was calm, but commanding. Minji froze, caught off guard. Talk? About what? She stammered. The stranger shut the door behind them, giving them an odd kind of privacy. Her pulse quickened as questions raced in her mind. Why did he close the door? What does he want from me? He noticed the remote in her hand and asked about it, amused. She lied it off as an accessory. He smirked and switched it on himself, increasing the setting. Minji tried to steady herself and asked for the controller back. He watched her closely and asked if she felt unwell. No, she said, voice tight. I'm fine. He set it higher, and she gave a small, involuntary sound that made him smile in a way she couldn't read, neither kind nor hostile, just curious. Minji had been exposed. She looked down, shy, trying to avoid the man's gaze. No, please, turn it off, she muttered, embarrassed and unsure how to respond. He was bold, staring at her in a way that made her blush. This is so humiliating, she thought. I can see this is too much for you, he said. She froze, unable to stop him, her whole body flushing with shame. I can't believe you had this on you. You really are interesting, he added with a smirk. What do you think? Instead of playing with that boring toy, he teased. Minji's mind spun. Is this really happening? Am I dreaming? He leaned against the door, blocking her way out. Her heart beat faster. There's no way someone this attractive could really want me, she thought, her face still red. An announcement echoed through the subway, doors opening on the right. Departure shortly. Reality set in. They couldn't go further here. He noticed her hesitation. I see, perhaps you're not ready yet, he said, returning the controller to her. Pardon? Not ready yet, she whispered, confused. If you change your mind before midnight, message me, he replied, handing her a sleek card before leaving the cabin. Minji sat frozen, staring after him, unable to understand why he had treated her that way. She looked down at the card. Embossed across the front were the words secret members. That night, as she walked back to her apartment, her thoughts kept circling him. I can't stop thinking about that man. Why did he do that to me? Hey, Kim Minji, what are you doing? You look like an idiot, Choi Sungmin called, snapping her out of it. Nothing, my neck just feels tight, she replied quickly, trying to hide her flushed face. They fell into their usual banter, about dinner, crypto, schoolwork. Sungmin teased her about dressing up and dating. Choi Sungmin was her only friend from college, and also her next-door neighbor. They had moved into their apartments the same day before the semester began, bumped into each other, and stayed close ever since. Both were freshmen but in different majors. Minji felt a kinship with him. He was another misfit, just like her. In his apartment, they shared fried chicken and soda. If every day was like this, I'd save $100,000 in no time, Sungmin said between bites. And end up broke a few years later. I heard cryptocurrency will collapse anyway, Minji replied. That's only for amateurs. I'm in a whole different league. And how dare you talk trash after all you've mooched off me, he shot back. Okay. I'll just eat in gratitude and silence, she laughed. It was easy to dismiss him as just another crypto-obsessed wannabe, but Minji knew his ambition was sincere. He believed having enough seed money was the key to everything, and he studied and worked hard to back it up. Why don't you ever dress up? He asked suddenly, eyeing her. Hey? Why should I? She said defensively. It's no wonder you're a loner. Says you. Stop staring at a computer screen all day and go meet people, she shot back. At least I have experience. You've never even held a guy's hand, have you? He teased. Flustered, she insisted she had. He burst out laughing. What was it? Kindergarten? And your dad doesn't count. Ooh. I'm sick of your immature jokes, Minji snapped, grabbing her bag. Wait, are you mad? Sungmin said, stopping her at the door, his hand gently on her shoulder. I'm sorry. I only said that because I thought you weren't interested in guys. Honestly, I think you'd be really pretty if you dressed up. Their eyes met, both faces flushed. Back in her own apartment, Minji sighed. Home sweet home. Her cat, Cheese, bounded toward her before strutting away indifferently. Brat, she muttered with a smile. She had rescued Cheese months ago, and despite its aloofness, she adored it. After feeding the cat, she showered. Warm water ran down her body, soothing her, but Sungmin's words lingered. Everything he said was true, even if it stung. Deep down, Minji wanted the same things as everyone else. To be touched, to be loved. He told me to message him before midnight, she remembered, finishing her bath. Sitting on her bed, she pulled out the card. Secret members. What is this? Some sort of club? She flipped it. A barcode gleamed faintly on the back. Curious, she scanned it. The clock read 11:59 p.m. Her heart skipped. He said before midnight. The card suddenly turned blank, both sides wiping clean. Then her phone lit up, welcome to secret members. A chat window appeared. A greeting flashed, good evening, Ms. Kim. I'm glad you came. Her breath caught. How does he know my name? She typed back. I've been watching you for a while, came the reply. His code name was Black. He explained, secret members was a private circle where hidden desires could be explored without judgment. But to join, she had to pass a test. Within a week, she must sleep with 2 men she already knew. Minji stared at the message, stunned. Black reminded her the deadline was Friday at midnight. The screen went blank again. Minji stood and walked to the mirror, staring at her reflection. Her face was still flushed, but her mind felt strangely steady. Could she really do it? She clenched her fists. I can. Minji looked worried, pacing around her room. So, to summarize, I have to sleep with 2 guys I know in just a week. But I don't even know that many guys, she thought, her face heating up. Yubin Sunbae's face came to mind, but she shook her head quickly. No way, that's impossible. Hansol had always been kind to her, but the thought of starting something with him within the week felt unrealistic. Who else is there? She wondered. Her mind landed on Choi Sungmin, and she shivered. No, we're just friends. Still, she knew her chances were highest with him. She bit her thumb in thought. Maybe if I looked different, if I dressed up, wore makeup, maybe even a wig. She scrolled through online shops for makeup, clothes, heels, and lingeries. The next morning, her doorbell rang. Dragging her feet, she opened the door, and froze. Hansol Sunbae stood there in a suit. Her face flushed. Why are you in a suit? She asked. He explained that he had just started working weekends as a chauffeur. The company required formal dress. You're even a chauffeur now? Minji said, surprised. He smiled and explained the pay structure, how much he could earn per trip. Minji frowned. But it's the weekend. You'll be working all day without rest. Resting doesn't make money, he said lightly, petting Cheese. He handed her a small tub of ice cream, making her laugh. Then, almost shyly, he asked her to help him with his tie. He admitted he had never tied one before. Flustered but trying to stay calm, Minji accepted. As he leaned close, she realized how broad his shoulders were. For a moment, she pictured a romantic scene in her head, but his voice snapped her back. "Why's your face so red today?" he asked. She stammered an excuse about having a coding job, tying the knot quickly with shaky hands. "All done," she said. He adjusted it in the mirror, smiling. "I'll have to ask for your help again next time." "Good luck with your project," he told her before leaving. Minji watched him go, her cheeks still hot. "I've never felt like this before. Just thinking about having to seduce him makes it impossible to look him in the eyes," she thought, eating the ice cream. That night, her doorbell rang again. Expecting her deliveries, she opened the door and saw her landlord, Mr. Park. He waved with a warm smile. She greeted him politely, and he offered to help her carry her packages. She accepted gladly. Mr. Park was more than just her landlord. He owned the building and a large cafe, though he never flaunted his wealth. They had grown closer thanks to Cheese. Once, when she couldn't take her cat to her parents' house because of her father's allergies, Mr. Park offered to look after him. That simple gesture left her deeply grateful. In her room, he helped her arrange the packages. "Thank you for your help," she said. "No need." "It was nothing," he replied, still smiling. As he looked around, Cheese suddenly appeared, holding something in his mouth. Minji's eyes widened in shock. "Oh no," Minji thought, quickly snatching the object from Cheese and hiding it behind her back. Cheese leapt at her playfully, trying to grab it again. Mr. Park gave her a puzzled look. "Cheese, I told you not to play with my massage gun." "You'll break it," she said quickly, her whole face burning. Mr. Park chuckled lightly. "You'd better keep it away from him." He smiled as he stood. "I'll get going now. Good night." "Good night," Minji replied, bowing slightly before closing the door. The moment she was alone, she collapsed onto the floor, catching her breath. Cheese poured at the object again, and she groaned. "You little brat," she muttered, scooping him up and setting him aside. Her eyes moved to the pile of unopened packages. "It's time." That evening, Minji followed tutorial after tutorial online, fumbling with makeup. She messed up countless times but kept at it until she began to see improvement. Bit by bit, her reflection transformed. By the time she finished, she hardly recognized herself. "Wow. I look pretty," she whispered, staring at the mirror. "I don't even look like me. Even Mom wouldn't recognize me right now." She slipped on the wig, the pantyhose, and the outfit she had carefully chosen. A new person stared back at her in the mirror. "Park Yunya," she said softly. That would be her name. Yunya had been her old classmate in high school, now her disguise. Just then, the doorbell rang. Another delivery? She thought, heading to the door. She opened it, finding no one in the hallway. Before she could step out, someone popped out from behind the door. "Boo!" Minji flinched, clutching her chest. It was Sungmin. His eyes widened when he saw her. "I'm so sorry, I thought you were Minji," he said quickly, bowing. "He doesn't recognize me, good," Minji thought with relief. In a higher, lighter tone, she answered, "I'm Minji's high school friend, Park Yunya. And you must be her neighbor from college." Sungmin rubbed the back of his neck nervously. "Yeah, I'm Sungmin." There was an awkward pause. Minji smiled to break the silence. "Why don't we talk casually? We're the same age, right?" Sure," he replied, holding out a grocery bag. "Were you coming to drink with Minji?" she asked sweetly. "Yeah, but I guess she's not around right now." "She just stepped out for a bit," Minji lied smoothly. "I should go then, so you two can." Before he could finish, Minji lightly touched his hand. "She'll be back soon." "Why don't we get started while we wait?" she said, brushing against him just enough to make his face redden. Inside, they talked as Cheese jumped onto Sungmin's lap. His stomach growled. "You haven't eaten?" Minji asked. "Not yet. There's ramen in the kitchen." "Should I ask Minji if I can cook some?" she teased. Sungmin smiled. "Yeah, that'd be great." Soon, he was slurping ramen with delight. Minji watched him, amused. "You were really hungry." "I walked almost 40,000 steps today," he explained. "Really? Minji said you work almost every day." "That's impressive," she teased. His ears reddened. "She's always teasing me. Us poor folks have to hustle, you know." As the conversation flowed, he admitted, "Honestly, I'm surprised Minji has a friend like you. You seem popular." She's kind of the opposite. Minji forced a smile. Well, she does keep to herself. In high school, she only had me. I couldn't let her eat alone all the time. Sungmin laughed softly. That sounds like her. Even in college, I'm the only person she really talks to. If it weren't for me, people might forget she exists. True, she has zero social skills, Minji joked, though her heart pinched. But she's kind. She really is, he added seriously. She may not show it, but she's got a big heart. Minji blinked. He thinks that about me? Her chest tightened, but she hid it with a smile. After a pause, Sungmin leaned on his hand. You should help Minji change her look. She could get a boyfriend if she dressed differently. Right now, she almost looks like a guy. Minji flinched but kept her disguise. Look at you, treating me like a guy even now. She opened 2 cans and set them down. Why don't we have a drink while we wait for Minji? She suggested with a sly smile. They sat side by side on her bed, sipping slowly. Minji studied his face. He really was handsome when relaxed. You have such a perfect nose, she said softly, touching it with her finger. His cheeks reddened. She leaned closer. Minji told me you're a really good guy. Sungmin's pulse quickened, his words stumbling. Their faces drew closer, and finally, their lips met. Her first kiss. I really did it, my first kiss, and with Sungmin. They pulled apart, both breathless and flushed. Sungmin's hand rested gently on her back as their eyes met. Then, slowly, he slipped off his jacket, his tie loosening. Desire flickered in his eyes. Wait, isn't he moving a little too fast? Minji thought, her heart racing. They both stayed still, their gazes locked. Sungmin's heartbeat quickened before he finally stood up from the bed. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go now, he said, picking up his jacket and tie. At the door, he added quietly, don't tell Minji about this. Minji sat frozen for a moment. Okay, she replied, watching him leave. The door clicked shut. She let out a long breath and lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Was I just rejected? She whispered. Even after transforming herself into Park Yunya, it hadn't worked. I knew it. I should just give up. Her fingers brushed her lips as the memory of their kiss returned. It had been her first. Across the hall, Sungmin sat in his apartment, face buried in his hands. What the hell did you just do to Minji's friend? You only met her today, but something about Yunya lingered in his mind. She seemed too familiar, almost like Minji. His cheeks burned as he replayed the kiss, hating how easily he'd lost control. He only hoped she wouldn't say anything. The next morning, Minji was woken by her doorbell. Is that Sungmin? She muttered, heading over. It was him. He asked if she could help with his tie again, though his tone felt a bit off. While she worked, he mentioned meeting her friend the night before. She left before I got back, Minji replied evenly. I was surprised you had such a pretty friend, he said with a small smile. Why, did you fall for Yunya? She teased. No way. I was just surprised, he said quickly, clearly flustered. Minji noticed. She didn't say anything about me, did she? He asked. Only that you devoured 2 packs of ramen, she replied. He laughed awkwardly, explaining how hungry he'd been, though she could tell he was worried about her finding out more. She changed the subject, telling him she'd heard his chauffeur work was tough and wished him safe driving. Her cheeks warmed as she spoke. Sungmin found himself watching her face, uncomfortably aware of the way his chest tightened. Why am I blushing because of Kim Minji? Once she finished with his tie, she handed him a small package. I heard you weren't eating properly. I made some rice balls. He stared, speechless, before thanking her and rushing off. Outside, he opened the package and blinked at the variety inside. She didn't even have groceries yesterday. Did she go shopping this morning just for me? His chest tightened again. Determined, he walked off with new energy, eager to work hard that day. Back in her apartment, Minji opened the secret meeting app. A message from Black flashed. The test has already begun. The deadline is next Friday at midnight. You have 7 days. Make sure you succeed. The chat disappeared. I can't believe I thought I could seduce a man, Minji muttered, tense. Pushing the thought aside, she focused on her coding. She needed money for herself as well. That night, heavy rain fell. Minji stood by the window with a hot cup of coffee. She remembered Sungmin had gone out without an umbrella and wondered if he was okay. From her window, she spotted Mr. Park outside, staring at his phone, just like the night before walking off into the storm. In a distant parking lot, a black Rolls-Royce rocked gently. Inside, Mr. Park's wife leaned into another man, laughing softly. She was thrilled her husband hadn't caught her. Outside, soaked by the rain, Mr. Park sat silently on the pavement. Empty bottles littered around him. His head was lowered. Back in her apartment, Minji worked late into the night, stress mounting. But before she could, Cheese suddenly darted to the door, scratching wildly. "What is it, Cheese? Is Sungmin here?" she asked, hiding the object quickly. She opened the door, but Cheese slipped out and ran down the stairs. Minji hurried after him, calling his name into the rain. Then she stopped, frozen. Cheese sat calmly in front of Mr. Park, who was still slumped on the wet ground, bottles scattered, his expression empty. "Mr. Park." Minji called out in shock. "Mr. Park, are you okay?" Minji asked, kneeling beside him and shaking him gently. His eyes opened halfway. When he saw her, he mumbled something unclear. The sharp smell of alcohol hit her. "I've never seen him like this before. What happened to him?" she wondered. "Are you hurt? Should I call an ambulance?" she asked. He shook his head. "No." He tried to stand, wobbling. Minji quickly rushed to his side, slipping his arm over her shoulder. "I can walk by myself," he muttered, his words slurred. "I know. Still, let me help you," she replied firmly. As they climbed the stairs, she asked quietly, "Should I take you to your house?" "I can't go home." "I can't face Hyun-suk right now," he said, his tone heavy. "Hyun-suk, that must be his wife. Did they fight?" "Then come to my place for now," she offered. He shook his head. "No, Minji. I can't go to your place. Don't worry about me. You're soaked from the rain. At least dry off at my place," she said, not giving him a choice as she guided him upstairs. Inside, she helped him onto her bed. He collapsed almost instantly, falling asleep. Minji stood over him, watching his chest rise and fall. "His clothes are drenched. He'll catch a cold if I leave him like this." Carefully, she unbuttoned his wet shirt and pulled it off. She hesitated, her eyes catching on his build, but forced herself to keep going. When she saw him lying there, her face heated. "Should I?" Before she could finish the thought, he stirred and turned on his side. Minji startled, pulling a blanket quickly over him. Her heart pounded. She hurried into the kitchen, clutching the damp clothes. "I thought he was waking up." After washing and hanging his clothes, she returned to the room. Sitting by the bed, she studied him as he slept soundly. "I can't believe he's here, sleeping in my bed. He must have argued with his wife. He drank so much. Maybe she did something really bad." Her thoughts were interrupted when Mr. Park mumbled in his sleep. "How could you do that to me? How could you cheat on me with my hubby?" Minji's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes wide. So, his wife cheated on him. That's why he couldn't go home. She sat down closer, her chest tightening. "Poor Mr. Park. Does his wife even know that he found out?" He murmured again, softer this time. "Hug." Minji's throat tightened. He must be so lonely. She leaned over, wrapping her arms around him gently. To her surprise, even in sleep, he returned the hug, holding her weakly. She stayed like that, listening to his heartbeat quicken under her cheek. When it became too much, Minji slowly pulled away, sitting back. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Black on the secret meeting app. "The test is still ongoing. Don't think of giving up." She typed quickly, "I don't think I can do this. It feels impossible." His reply came almost instantly. "It isn't as hard as you think. All you need to do is be honest with yourself." Minji sat frozen, her face warm, the phone still in her hand. Her eyes shifted back to Mr. Park sleeping peacefully under her blanket. She took a steadying breath, her determination quietly returning. Mr. Park woke up slowly, still dazed, his eyes settling on Minji. "Minji?" Minji swallowed hard, torn for a moment before deciding. Screw it, she thought. She remembered Black's advice. Just be honest with yourself. "No," she admitted, her face heating. "What?" "Minji, what do you mean?" His words stumbled as his cheeks flushed. She tugged lightly at her shirt, making him tense. "Mr. Park." "I want this," she said, her face red. He looked conflicted. "Minji, don't say that. I'm older than you, and I'm married." "I know," she said quietly. "I heard. Everything last night. About your wife. Mr. Park froze. Did I say that out loud? You did, Minji nodded, her voice soft. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I must have been too drunk. I shouldn't have said that. Before he could say more, Minji leaned closer, pressing him gently back against the bed. His eyes widened. Mr. Park, I like you, she whispered. His heart pounded in his chest. I like you too, Minji, but you should be with someone your own age, he tried to reason, his throat dry. Minji, unable to hold back, kissed him. He stiffened, then pulled back slightly, stunned. Do you want this too? She asked softly. He hesitated, sweat beading at his temples. Finally, he gave a quiet, trembling reply. Yeah. Their eyes met, both faces flushed, and the moment carried them away.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible adventure. If you enjoyed what you watched, please consider liking, subscribing, and ringing that notification bell. Your comments mean the world to us and help us improve. The next episode promises even more excitement and unexpected twists, so stay tuned as we embark on this thrilling journey together. Keep the anticipation alive, and we'll catch you in the next episode.